Huge news out of Winnipeg. The Winnipeg Jets have re-signed Conor Hellebuyck and Mark Scheifele, their star goalie and their star center, to long-term extensions worth a lot of money. But before we get into it, we noticed that you guys, 95% of you are not subscribed to the channel, so if you want somewhere to get all your NHL news, all your stuff about hockey, even international hockey, we'll have it for you guys. We post videos a lot. We'll have everything for you guys. We love making content for you guys. If you guys could subscribe if you like the content, that'd be great. But now we need to get into it. This is huge news, Noah. Like, what I want to know what your initial reaction is to this. I mean, we also thought we all thought that Hellebuyck and Scheifele were for sure gone. We thought that this was like a foregone conclusion, and some team was going to acquire both of them or one of them at the deadline in a trade, maybe if the Jets were out of it. But I mean, I want to know what your initial reaction is to it.
Yeah, well, I for sure thought that, at least Conor Hellebuyck was going to be traded for sure. I mean, there was so much uncertainty with his contract. Although I'm not 100% sure on the Mark Scheifele where he was going to end up. But Conor Hellebuyck, I for sure thought was good as gone. The whole scenario with his contract, I'm dumbfounded at the fact that he re-signed in Winnipeg. But, it's kind of a whole new look for the Jets. They were supposed to be rebuilding. They just traded Pierre-Luc Dubois, but they just signed back probably their two faces of their franchise. Their star goalie, who's a top 10 goalie when he's on, and probably I think a top player in the league in Mark Scheifele. So there's definitely some questions that I got about it, but overall I don't think it's terrible.
No, it's not. I thought, for example, that the Hellebuyck deal was a little bit long for the amount of term that he's going to get. He's going to be 37, making $8.5 million. So I wasn't too sure about that. But for right now, Conor Hellebuyck's one of the best goalies in the NHL, a top 3 goalie in the NHL, some might say. So if you have that guy around a lot of goalies are getting paid over like $10 million now. Well, not a lot, but a lot of them are getting paid like $9 and $10 million. Conor Hellebuyck's a top 3 goalie in the league, and he's making 8.5. So you can't really complain about that right now. We'll see what the future holds, but Mark Scheifele coming back is also another big thing. You have a number 1 center in Mark Scheifele. You've got Cole Perfetti behind him, as I'll just pull up the lines here for you guys. Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, Gabe Vilardi on the first line. Ehlers, Perfetti, Niederreiter. The bottom 6 is also not bad either. I just want to know what you're thinking about this top 6 right here, Noah, and is it good enough for the Jets to make a playoff run this season with the support of the bottom 6?
It's the sort of question that I had surrounding bringing those guys back was, it seems like it's the same core every year in Winnipeg. It's always, they outside of Dubois, they just traded Dubois. But, Kyle Connor's been there since, 2015, 2016?
Yeah.
Mark Scheifele's been there his whole career. Nick Ehlers has been there this whole career. Adam Lowry's been there his whole career. It's the same core, and they never get it done. I mean, they in 2018, they had probably what I thought could have been a Stanley Cup champion caliber team, and they just couldn't get it done. And they're somehow bringing the same guys back and hoping for something different. So that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know about the bringing Scheifele back, but they very well could do it. It's just they got to figure it out.
Yeah, I think my concern was mostly with the defense of that team. If you look at the defense here, you've got Morrissey, who's a great Norris candidate defenseman last season.
He's solid.
But you've got DeMello next to him. You've got Pionk and Sandberg, and you've got Dillon and Schmidt. Now, I don't mind that bottom pairing, but the middle pairing is it's really not doing it for me with Dylan Sandberg. I don't think he's that great. And the top pairing, Dylan DeMello is good, but he's not a top-line defenseman. So I think that was my concern. Now, if I bring back the forwards here, you'll notice there are a few new players. Like, they had to get rid of Blake Wheeler. That just wasn't working out. He's gone to New York now. Yeah. And they've replaced him with Gabriel Vilardi there on the top line. Now, Gabe Vilardi is a young player. He got off to a really good start last season, and I think he has a lot of potential. And he got injured and then had to come back, and he wasn't so good. But there's a few depth pieces down with some high upside on the bottom 6, and Alex Iafallo and Rasmus Kupari. I think the Jets did a really good job on that trade for what they could do. Everyone thought Pierre-Luc Dubois was going to Montreal, or everyone thought that everyone knew that Pierre-Luc Dubois wanted out. So if you consider the fact that Pierre-Luc Dubois wanted out, and everyone knew that he wanted out, Iafallo, Vilardi, and Kupari is not a bad return. So I think the Jets did pretty good. Yeah. So just another thing before we wrap it up here. The Jets, like you mentioned, haven't been really a contending team since 2018. I don't really see something that's that different about this team. Like, they've always had depth. They've always had the same defense. The defense has only gotten worse. And Hellebuyck is only on a downward incline. I know he's one of the best goalies in the NHL right now, but he's not going to get any better than he is right now. So I just don't know what was going through the Jets' heads when they signed Hellebuyck to that long deal. Maybe it's just because they're kind of in a panic, like in Calgary right now. They just want to get somebody there long term because the fans are going to go crazy. Like, if the Jets just rebuild now after trying for the last few years, when it seemed like a few of them wanted them to rebuild because it just wasn't working after 2018. I just want to get your opinion on the Jets team this season going forward. Are they good enough to make the playoffs? Do you think yes or no?
They're in a tough division. You know, the Central's always a tough division, right? But they're in the Central, right? Yeah,
they're in the Central.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I just had a brain fart. But they could probably squeak in kind of sort of what they did last year. I mean, they didn't really give Vegas much of a run for their money. I think they might have won one game.
Yeah.
So I think they might squeak in. You know, like I said, when Hellebuyck's on, he's an amazing goalie. But I don't think they're good enough to compete. You know, you touched on their defense, and it's a long. I mean, they used to have Chirot and Bufflin with Myers and Trouba, like that. They were an absolute unit. They were an absolute wagon of a team in 2018, and it's so much different now. And I think they might get into the first round, but you won't see them do any real damage.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I'm thinking they may squeak in, but it's going to be as a wild card team if they do. Now, we know that Central Division's wide open this year. There's a lot of teams that are going through like a culture change or a rebuild in that division. Either that or they're at the top of the division and they're loving it, like Colorado or something like that, right? But I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be able to do any damage in the playoffs, so we'll see how these contracts pay off for the Jets in the future. I thought they could have got a lot for Hellebuyck right now. I thought they could have got a few prospects, a lot of picks, and the same thing with Scheifele. Like, for a team like Boston is looking for a number one center right now, I thought they really could have used that against them and used that to their advantage and got a lot of picks. The value is not going to get any higher, but now they've got those guys signed to long-term deals. They're in it now. They've put themselves in that situation. So to wrap it up here, guys, huge news out of Winnipeg. This is, a lot of people are probably thinking this is fantastic for the Jets. A lot of people are probably more along on the fence like us here. Like, we don't really know yet. I think it's great. They're great players. They're going to play good, but I don't know how good it's going to be in the end of the season when they just missed the playoffs and they've got these guys on these long-term deals, right? Then they decide they want to rebuild after, right? But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We're going to wrap it up here now. Remember, if you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, give us your thoughts. What do you guys think of the moves for the Jets? We want to know. We love hearing your guys' feedback. Anyways, guys, that's it. Happy Thanksgiving to those of us in Canada, those of us celebrating in Canada. Love you guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.